to look at my phone because my phone is just noisy. So let me put it for real on silence because I was happily getting ready and suddenly my aunt called me. Like, have you eaten today? And I was like,
can you not?
yes, I have. But I'm trying to finish getting ready for something very important. Like,
Family is not. I love you, but no.
yeah, like, this is nice aunt, by the way.
That's good.
The one who lives here. So
the Tio we enjoy and love.
Yeah.
Zan.
Oh, God. I did not calculate this correctly, and I forgot.
Yay! Thorn rated you.
Yay! Yay, friends!
A Fefy. Okay. I got the Twitch thing. Hopefully, and like, let's see. Couchbot. Did you post?
You just arrived to me being on the struggle bus because I forgot to bring a Q-tip here.
Struggle bus.
I am in my living room, which is something I can't do. When
Yeehaw, Irene. Everyone's just saying hi with the rave. Here, Bethany, Faye, Mo, Irene, Kat, Emily.
Friends! I am glad you're here. I really needed to see my friends.
Listen, Irene said IDK, why it's so funny to me saying like, because I think Thorn maybe said yeehaw. And Irene said, I don't know why it's so funny to me. Hilariously enough, I will sometimes unironically say yeehaw, okay? Oh, and
you're in here promoting the yeehaw agenda.
The yeehaw agenda. You know what? I'm here for it. I have both of my cowboy hats right over in that room, and my boots are under my bed.
I mean, you are actually horse girl IRL. I am not surprised. It actually makes me quite happy. 1 second.
Oh yeah, and don't worry, Mo. I know you asked about eyes. I tagged you in Thorn's. I don't know if you saw, but I glad Fefy saw.
It's okay, friend. It's okay. I understand.
Irene said I'd like to hear more about unironically saying yeehaw. Sometimes I will just like get excited or something will surprise me.
Oh my God.
Wait.
I love you, Kat. I needed that laugh. Yeah.
Get excited and like like say you're in a car or something and someone else is driving and you have to take an unexpected turn or something and someone just be like, oh yeah, like just like stuff like that, or just like
casually promoting the yeehaw agenda.
But but actually saying yeah, like it's just in my vocabulary since
in more struggle news. I have been feeling so like crap that skincare hasn't been a priority, and I'm breaking out now.
Why is that such a mood?
We're going to have to fix that. And now I can't find my concealer.
Ooh. Bethany said, my ex-husband was a bull rider. I also unironically say yeehaw too. Yeah, with horseback riding too. Like sometimes you are on a yeehaw ride. Like
sometimes you just gotta be yeehaw, you know?
Irene said, I can't wait to experience an unironic or yeehaw. And then Kat said, a bull rider? I just spit out my bean water. Toya said, the more you know, ... Bethany, Irene said, Bethany, that is so cool and also scary. And yes, yeah, bull riding is scary AF.
Yeah.
Could
That sounds not safe.
it's very unsafe. Even with
Oh, I forgot to do the thing. Oh, but I can't do the thing without my glasses. See, I am.
I have the glasses. Olivia's here. Hello.
Hey, Olivia. Okay,
There it is.
that's the thing I wanted to do.
I know.
I'm in my living room. As you can see, there's tiny Christmas tree
Oh,
in the
it's so
background.
cute.
A fun fact before we start with the actual subject of the podcast today is, well, Mommy is in the country. She's coming back next week, she told me. And when she was leaving with like so many suitcases. Like she packed half the apartment to go to the country for 2 weeks. Like, I swear. So she was leaving because she was late. And suddenly she goes back, she passes by the tiny Christmas tree with one of her very full suitcases, and the Christmas tree fell on the floor. All the ornaments went flying. There was one that fell to this side of the room, so like the other side, like I don't know how that happened. Like it was an ornament explosion.
Not an ornament explosion. Oh no.
At least we don't have the like glass ones. At least these are plastic, like if
Irene said
we had
hello.
glass ornaments, that would have been a whole other situation. And she was like, okay, you have to clean up now, bye, because she was leaving. So I had to redo the tree, and I don't know if it turned out so well.
Oh,
I haven't turned on the tree because I've been sad. Maybe turning on the tree and looking at the lights will make me a bit less sad. I do like looking at lights.
excuse me. I'm so sorry. Irene said LMAO. That's my mom. As in packing the whole apartment.
Yeah, like
Everyone, remember to follow Olivia on Instagram, Scientist in Makeup.
yes, follow Olivia. She's amazing.
Make sure you promote
She's
Fefy
been
so she can
doing
do affiliate.
like, oh my god, those looks you've been doing with the graphic liner, Olivia.
Oh, so good.
Amazing. Like, how do you talent? Like, you truly have the range, my friend.
And then Faye said, I'm mommy. And then Irene said, LMAO Faye, does that make you ... Fami? Fami mommy.
Where is
Mo,
my...
sweet potato to eat with her soup, which sounds delicious.
This is definitely a where is my thing type stream, because I have been forgetting everything. So what I wanted to talk about today is, like, since I'm sad, I want to talk about things that make me happy. And I figured I could tell you, I mean, I have done streams about it before, about my job at the archive, because people seem to be into that. And it's very funny because, like, people are like, oh, that's so interesting, blah, blah, blah. And then when I tell them what I did, sometimes the reaction changes pretty fast. Because, like, my first years working there, the job was pretty boring. Like, in theory, it was boring because I was doing like a data entry kind of thing. However, it wasn't boring for me. Why? Because I am nosy.
Because I am nosy. That's a mood.
So, like, my work at first, the first one I did was entering information for this database that the archive is constantly changing, so we can help users of the archive find information about a whole bunch of stuff, like, like lawyers go there for records, people who want to find out more about their family, historians.
Toya said, I love the color of that. Is that a top, Fefy, or a dress? Because whatever
It's a top.
we love it. I do, like, with your hair and the purple makeup, it's so good.
Yeah.
Olivia said, thank you, Fefy. A lot of practice, mistakes, and patience. Faye said, Fefy and I love the same things.
Yeah. Basically, I mean, we are Spider-Man meme. So what I was saying is, like, we were trying to help people do that. When I was in university and I was a history major, I actually had 2 classes at the archive, at the main one, which is in downtown Santiago, probably in the noisiest corner of downtown Santiago. Honestly, so many traffic there. And that building, I have told you before, used to be a convent. And it was maybe haunted, definitely haunted, honestly.
Oh, yeah, I believe that so hard.
Like, it was a convent. We all know what the Catholic Church got up to. Shit must have happened there. Like, it had to happen. So
Mo said more ancient capucha from the archives.
Yeah.
They said we both nosy and love data and data entry.
Yeah. So, like, I'm very nosy, and that was about that was kind of a bad thing for me working there, because the main issue is we were paid for each file. So, like, each file that we entered on the database was a certain amount of money. And it was, the sad thing is, like, it was like a flat amount. It didn't change. Like, even if you entered a file that was 2 pages, you got paid the same amount you got paid if you entered a file that was like 1,000 pages, which, like,
ridiculous. And yes, Kat said, give us all the juicy ghost gossip.
Yeah, I'll get to the ghost, don't worry. So the idea, because of that, was to do the job fast. But first of all, I can't really do the job fast if the archive, if the file is from, like, I don't know, the 1700s. So it's handwritten by someone with weird handwriting. It's tiny, and also the file has been affected by a whole bunch of things. Like, for example, we had a whole archive that in which the documents were transferred to us from a municipal building in the south that was affected by a fire. So the files were like what was rescued. So those files smelled weird, first of all. And then they had a lot of, some of them had mold, some of them just had like the humidity spot in them. Some of them were kind of disintegrating because the paper was very old. So I can't really be fast with that, like I am visually impaired. So
Cece is also here and said, I used to want to go back to school for archiving, so I am I emoji ear emoji.
Yeah, it's a fun job when you don't find so many obstacles, but like, so, and sometimes those files, unlike like modern legal files, mostly look the same. Like the things that you need to find are mostly in the same places in the document, but old-timey ones, like from the 1700s, like they didn't know, no one knew what they were doing. Like the courts weren't even actually courts. I'm going to go into that soon.
Oh, wow.
So
sounds so cool, and it does. Although, like you said, albeit frustrating because they don't know what they were doing.
Yeah. So we had to find sometimes this information that we needed to put on the form to upload to the database, and sometimes that meant reading the whole file.
Oof, and like you said, some of them are like 1,000 pages. They should have paid you, so it was like per file, I assume, and not per page.
Yeah, they paid for file. Lucky for me, the 1,000 pages ones were like more modern ones. But here's the thing: there was a whole section on the form that was attachments. So usually when there was an accident and the file was like a more modern file, there were usually maps, photographs, personal documentation of the people who were on the accident, a whole bunch of other things that you needed to find in between the pages of the document. And those are actually never in the same places. So I would have to like dig in there, and that would be what made me work slower with more modern files. But with the older ones,
yeah,
the problem was that I had to read everything because, for example, if there was sometimes like if there was, for example, an accident, an injury, and like a fight, usually it was like like fights, someone attacking someone, like armed robbery, stuff like that. And usually on those files there is a medical report. Problem is, the medical report was transcribed into the file by the same person who was taking notes. So the whole document looked the same. The handwriting was terrible. And you would catch me there reading the whole thing to see where the hell was the note from the doctor, because I couldn't find it and I needed it to finish the form. So that was a whole issue.
That's so annoying. And Kat also said, "Ooh, I've always wondered how other places arrange their legal files."
Yeah, like the newer ones, like the ones from the most modern ones that we had at the archive were from the 80s, because those were the ones that were released for us to work with, because of the laws here. It's an agreement between, if I'm not mistaken, it's an agreement between the Supreme Court and the and the Association of Libraries, Archives, and Museums. And you have to wait like a whole bunch of years for those files to free up and be transferred into the archive. So the most recent ones are from the 80s, and I think ones from the 90s are going to be ready for transfer like in 10 years, if I'm not mistaken.
That makes sense. Okay.
Oh, the ones from the 80s mostly looked all the same, but sometimes you would find a special case. Like, for example, there was one in the south, like far in the south, that started because of journalistic investigation into a school, and they were accusing the teachers of political indoctrination. Why was that file so interesting? And actually, that one I read the whole thing. Like, I was late. I had a deadline. I had a deadline, and I was like, you know what? We're going to be noisy. We're going to be nosy today. Like, I am slow anyway. I am not going to meet my deadline anyway. I'm going to occupy my time being nosy.
Like, okay.
I read that file front to back because it was so interesting, because you see what year it was. Actually, that file has my age because it was from 1985.
That's funny.
And so the thing was that what made it so interesting is like accusing someone of political indoctrination during a dictatorship. That's
some nerve.
Yeah. Those teachers, like the person who wrote that article, put all those people in danger. Because if you were accused of political indoctrination, you didn't even get sent to regular prison. Like, if you were found guilty of that, you got sent to a detention center, like straight up, immediately. They didn't even, like, it was a dictatorship. They didn't need to ask questions.
That's so scary.
So
yeah, no,
and
Irene said
like,
wow, and then Kat also said wow, and Irene said that's scary. Toya said wow as well, and agreed. Like, that kind of makes me think of like McCarthyism here in the U.S. and how like if anybody's accused of a communist, like you just lost everything.
Yeah. So at first, my supervisor was kind of mad at me because he was like, you have a deadline. And like, I understand because we're friends. I have spoken about him repeatedly here. We're friends. And he was like, you need to make your deadline because you get money for the amount of time you work. You make money per file, you know, like sadly, this is what it is. I don't like it either, but you're going to have to do. So he gave me a lecture at first,
Oh no.
a very kind lecture, because he's a very nice person. But then I show him that file, and he was like, "Okay, you know what? We're setting this aside because we need to do research on this."
And he was like, okay, no, I get it now.
Like this shit, like he was like, oh, this is fact. Like I immediately want to go into records and see how many of these people are still alive, because that's how serious the situation was. Like if these people were found guilty of what they were being accused of, being sent to a detention center in most cases meant your family never saw you again. You were immediately qualified as disappeared, which is the word that they use here. Like, so we're like, okay, we need to see how many of these people are still alive, because of their ages. If nothing happened to them, they could realistically still be alive. Like this was in 2017, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it was probably in 2017, because in 2018 I was doing another type of work. Hey, Cecily.
Oh, Cecily, sorry, the roommates came in.
Good luck with the peoples.
And
Take
yes,
care of yourself, please, friend.
And yeah, Cece said, that's what I was thinking too, era with McCarthyism. And then Olivia said the US used communism to imprison lots of people, including Black and LGBTQ plus activists.
Yeah, I mean, as you know, the Chilean dictatorship was American sponsored, like
we have done so much damage to the world.
Like there's a whole bunch, like a huge amount of declassified files from the CIA that explain how they did the whole thing here. It's pretty terrifying. So yeah, when we got to the 70s and 80s, in the files that we were processing, things got really interesting. There was another one in which this person, who was very brave and very bold, and I hope they actually made it, was accusing military officers of unfairly detaining them and of torture. Which is, and I showed that to my supervisor as well, and he was like, "Wow, this person is brave, because he's accusing the very people who are like in charge of the government now." So that one also was scary, and I'm a bit concerned because like that one was missing pages. So we don't actually know the ending of that story.
And Ani said, lurking, busy day at work. Hi, Ani.
Hi, Ani.
So many Americans sponsor tyranny in Central America too, and throughout the rest of America as well. And yeah, and then Olivia said, yes, CC, the U.S. has a lot of influence over El Salvador, like they use the U.S. currency. Oh,
yeah. Yeah. In South America, it was mostly Chile, Argentina, and Brazil. And actually, they had like a whole thing in which the three countries had a pact and stuff. Like, there was a point in which if you wanted to escape, you had to escape somewhere farther away, because you couldn't cross the border, because the Argentinian armed forces were going to get you, and they were going to send you back immediately.
Right. And Kat said redacted. No, it just took the pages right out. Seriously.
Yeah, no, they didn't even read that. Like they took the pages right out of that one. And like I feel like that didn't end well because it was a rural area. This person was very poor. So like they had everything stacked against them to for that story to not have ended up uh, well. Yeah, I remember studying that in university as well.
Yeah, I'll have to look more into that because I didn't know that they use the U.S. currency.
Yeah.
I learned about it when I joined USU. Did you find out what happened to the teachers? Asked Faye.
So, according to our research, it was like 10 teachers, and 3 of them are still alive. The other ones, we don't know what happened to them. Like they could be like some of them, the best outcome they could have faced was exile, but I don't know if they were still doing exile at that time. I don't remember now, but we couldn't find more about the other people. Oops. Is your Wi-Fi?
I am so sorry. No, that was just my clumsy fingers. I'm so sorry. And yes, that's so traumatizing. Those poor teachers.
Yeah, and like
I do.
it was probably like a misunderstanding or something because that happened a lot. Like at work, like in some of my teachers in high school and stuff, or like adults in my life when I was growing up, would tell me, yeah, like if someone hated you at work, they would accuse you of being a communist. Like,
and it's just,
simple, like,
oh god. And I remember like there's this joke in Modern Family that Jay makes, and he was like, oh yeah, because he grew up in like the 60s, like or he might have even in the 50s, is like when he was supposed to be in high school in the show. And I remember he joked about, oh yeah, we accused our football coach of being a communist, and he spent the weekend in jail, like as their prank for their coach. And it's just like, and laughed about it. And I'm just like, that's so unfunny.
yeah, like,
And
I mean, that's very Jay though.
yeah, it is.
That's very on brand for Jay. But like, yeah, like here, if they accuse you of being a communist, you didn't spend a week in jail. Like, I mean, I think I told everyone, or was it just during a game of Among Us? Mommy was in jail.
Right, she was a political prisoner
for a while, like because she was coming back from work one day, and there was a protest nearby, and there was this kid. He was probably like 14 years old, waiting for the bus. And since he was a teenager, the cops decided to get ridiculous on him. Like they were attacking this poor kid.
on a whole child.
And like he wasn't even halfway through high school. Like that was a kid. So mommy, being who she is, went up to the cops and was like, leave that child alone.
I love her so much.
And obviously the cops didn't like that. So instead of detaining the child, they detained mommy. So she spent a whole bunch of weeks in jail. She was actually quite lucky because my godmother worked for this rich couple. They were actors, and they were also mommy's younger sister. They were like their mentors because she's an actress, and these were very rich people with connections, and they happened like the guy, the who was like kind of like a father to my aunt, had like a estranged relationship with a family member who was a member of the military.
Oh wow!
And this guy had dirt on the military guy. So he was like, this girl who is like a child to me, someone who this girl cares about very much, is in jail. You're going to get her out of jail, or I'm going to talk. And you can't do anything to me because I provide for this, because I provide to this country. So like,
that's amazing.
So so he did that. and then my aunt was able to get mommy out of jail, because if she had stayed like one more week, she would have gotten sent to a detention center, sadly, and we wouldn't know anything about her now. So
because people who were sent to like detention centers, I mean, I know we're on the subject of heavy things, but yeah, I'm Salvadoran. In the 80s, the U.S. military trained armed forces in El Salvador. Also, a lot of law and order policies in ES were modeled after the U.S.
Yeah.
I'm here. I just want to say hello. I fell asleep for a while while Thorne was playing AC and floated in on the raid.
Hi, Ruthie.
A lot of people know about the School of Americas existed, where they literally trained people to murder and rape. And because people who went to detention centers, did they ever come home again?
Very few people. Like, I had detention centers, just so you know, like, they were basically concentration camps. Like, there's the biggest football stadium in the city here. It was a detention center.
God, that's terrible.
So like, there's a part of like the sitting area that is like, I think it's empty on purpose, like to remember the people. A very famous folklore singer songwriter, Victor Jara. I don't know if anyone has heard about him. In the very beginning of the dictatorship, he was sent to a detention center and tortured and killed, and that's like very very well documented. There's a journalist here that everyone hates because, and well deserved, they also hate the network as well, because the dictatorship, to wash their image, did a whole like oh God, I am forgetting English today.
Valid.
Like, when they were reporting the news, the guy was like a correspondent reporting from the detention center.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, look, they're singing. Look how happy they are.
I'm sorry.
And like, watching that, like, I have watched those because there's been documentaries and like special reports on the news. Like, I have been seeing that since I was a child, like on TV. And like, that shit is like terrifying, because when you actually know what was actually happening, it's awful. Right. So yeah, like, mommy was lucky that she knew someone, even though my family was very poor.
Mm-hmm.
These people like really owed a a lot to my godmother and to my aunt. Like they really took them in and they really loved them. So they were like, okay, we're going to help your family.
Right.
And after that, my aunt actually like, I right now have issues with her. The people who know me know.
Mm-hmm.
But something that I do appreciate about her is that during the dictatorship, she did things like help people cross the border.
Yeah.
Before Argentina was a dictatorship as well, like make sure people escaped, take them to like another country's embassies so they could apply for political asylum.
Right.
So yeah,
that's really cool.
so like she did that.
Yeah, like
I'm mad at her now, but she did that.
Yes. And
also my uncle, the baby of the family that everyone cuddled and protected and stuff, he was like front line at the protest, throwing rocks at the cops, like
amazing.
And no one knew.
That's amazing.
Like, we found out about that 2 years ago when we had a family reunion. Like my aunt was like, "You're lucky that our parents are not alive still, because they would have been so mad if they found out." Yeah.
Seriously. And Ruthie said, Mama Fefy and Mama Mo are our heroes. Exactly. And then Kat said, renaming things to hide the insidious nature of the place doesn't fool anyone. Exactly. And said, I think propaganda, maybe field reporting were the words you were looking for.
Yeah, the propaganda was strong with that one.
DC, yes, that's terrible. That's why the concept of fake news and twisting narratives is so dangerous.
Yeah.
Yes. And Faye said those two things can be a thing, badass but also problematic.
Yeah. I mean, like, that's why I'm like
experience to talk about. Fefy, thank you for sharing. And yes, and thank you for letting me ask the question about
I am
ignorant about the history and
I am kind of like I'm okay obviously, because I had no idea that was happening, you know. My first memories of like dictatorship stuff were,
oh, be safe, Irene has to go into the peoples. She will be back later. Bye, Irene. Mom is
volunteering. Bye, Irene.
She's there now working with a 4-year-old one-on-one because you know she hasn't.
Mommy is amazing. Most mom is amazing. Good luck with the peoples, Irene. Yeah, so working at the archive and reading those files, like sometimes I would read about something, because sometimes there would be like a clipping from a newspaper. So that those were the things that would distract me. Like, because like I am a storytelling binge, I am a pop culture binge. That's why I keep insisting. I love enthusiastic people, because if you're like, did you know about this thing? I'm like, I didn't know, but I want to know. Please tell me. So we would find like newspaper clippings, and sometimes I would see something and I would be like, oh my God, this thing, I saw it when I was a kid. Like,
so that would be pretty cool to like see a newspaper from your childhood, like that you were thought that was like lost to the sands of time that randomly popped up in your memory.
Yeah, like that was actually very fun. Oh, there was a file, like one of the ones from the 80s that weren't depressing. Was this lady was reporting a robbery, and she made like an inventory of things that had been stolen from her. And one of these things was a cassette with music recorded from the radio. And I was like, oh my God, that's amazing.
That's, oh my god.
Like and I immediately was like, I bet she's pissed because she recorded all those songs, and she was lucky that at the time the
Okay.
DJ didn't talk over them, and now she's going to have to do that again.
Yes. Cass said, all of you are amazing, and I agree. Then Christine said, it's so important to preserve those stories so we can learn from them and their struggles aren't lost forever. Exactly. Fefy, all of you have experienced, I have no words, sending so much love. And then Bethany said,
like, so,
fascinating. Doing
so like,
listening. And yeah, agreed. Like, this is why it's so important to preserve these stories, just because
it's important to talk about that, because like people here
during a dictatorship, like that's important stuff to
like I was like, and that's why when the protest happened last year, the moment this asshole we have as a president was like, oh, we're going to do curfew and we're going to take the military into the streets and stuff, it was like everyone who was an adult at the time immediately got flashbacks. Right. It was like, oh shit, it's happening again. Like, we were terrified. And like when I was my first memories when I was very young were my family and I watching TV, for example, and then suddenly the power would go out. And that meant that something was going on. Obviously, I am pretty lucky that they never entered my home. But I mean, mommy got arrested on the street. She was both in the wrong and right place at the wrong time.
Right.
Because she was in the wrong place because she got arrested, but she was in the right place because she saved a child's life.
Yeah, absolutely.
But like no one in my family, luckily, got like taken out of their home or stuff like that. But when the power would go out, it meant that something was happening in the neighborhood, you know? Or like stuff like going into my uncle's room. My uncle's room was right next to my room, which I shared with my aunt and mommy. And he has his bookshelf, and I have always been curious. So I would want to read his books, and I would be like, "Oh, do you have this book?" And he would be like, "I used to have it, but I had to bury it because during the previous government, which was a communist government, there was this publishing company that published books, like they weren't even about communism or anything. Like they had like classic literature and stuff like that were at very accessible prices for people who had never had access to books. So,
oh, that's pretty cool.
My family was very poor, but sometimes my uncle would like save a couple of cents and buy himself a new book, and he had built a pretty hefty library. However, when the dictatorship happened, they were like, "Oh no, we have to get rid of all the books that come from this publishing company because they're communists." Like they didn't even care that they were like regular books that you read at school, like
just because they came from that.
Don Quixote. Like Don Quixote is not communist, like or like like Shakespeare, or like just because they came from that just because they came from that publishing company, and that publishing company was run by communists,
Everything.
everyone who had those books was in danger.
That's terrible.
So my uncle had to bury his little library that he had built.
It's awful. And like Cece said, it's different from reading history from a book to hearing personal accounts. And yes, Thorne said, "Mommy is amazing." Yes. Olivia said, "I bet. My parents talk about their experience during the Salvadoran Civil War, and it's terrifying." And then Faye asked, "Did he ever dig the books back up, or is it a metaphorical burying it?"
I don't think he was able to dig them back up, actually, because there was there was construction after, when he actually buried them, because having them at his home was putting the entire family in danger. The whole family lived together.
And it's like, that's.
And I was like, that, and I think about it, and like, from a cultural standpoint, that fucking sucks as well.
Yeah, no, like, I would be so upset to lose my entire library that I
And
paid.
also, like, from you could have criticisms of Allende's government, like, absolutely you could have, because no politician is perfect, no government is it's perfect, and like, whatever. But like, what that was doing to education in this country was invaluable. Like,
It's like you
people,
said, making
people
it
who
acceptable.
never had books were able to read. And it's not a coincidence that with the dictatorship, private universities were created. Like,
Yeah.
that's the beginning of for-profit everything. Education, healthcare, everything in this country.
Book out of the US.
Yeah, it actually, funny you should mention that. Sometimes people will defend the dictatorship because the economy. What's the thing with the economy? The government at the time gathered a bunch of economists, Chilean economists, that studied in the States. And they were like, we have to do everything like they do in the States. So that's why we have like everything shitty that we have right now, everything that people are protesting started because these people wanted to copy the States.
And this is why I'm just like, we're the worst. And then, you know, not to even mention what the US has done to West Asia. Like,
Yeah.
Like, we've left so much bloodshed and horror all over. It pisses me off to no end. And people are like, oh, we're the greatest.
Yeah.
And like Toya said, I can't even imagine, right? Like I know we live under fascism in the US, but it's like,
yeah,
they subvert it though.
Like,
it's
you absolutely do, and it's freaking terrifying.
Yeah. And it's like, you know, like, I mean, people are getting snatched off the streets now. Like,
yeah, like,
I was like, I was just about to say that. I was like, well, wait, no, because that does happen.
And that's why when people are like, oh, you're overreacting, I'm like,
no, I'm not.
Here's the thing. I know you have watched a whole bunch of movies about like totalitarian governments and dictatorships and stuff, and like how this young person has to overthrow the government and stuff like that, like all those like dystopian novels and things. And I was like, here's the thing. Real life doesn't look like that. there's going to be a dystopian a dystopian government. There's going to be you're going to be under fascism, and probably depending on where you live, you're not even going to notice.
Yeah, like
because life is going to continue as normal for you, and life continued as normal here as well. Like, my family has like stuff from the 70s and 80s, like cultural stuff that they still love. Like, oh, I remember watching that TV show. I used to love it so much, and it was in like the state controlled network. People got married, people had children, people started projects. My uncle was in a band. My aunt was an actress and she toured Latin America. Like, life continued as normal, but it didn't mean that what was happening wasn't happening.
And Chuka also said, so they copied for-profit institutions, the worst part of the U.S. system, right? Though.
Absolutely, yeah. Like, we have the for-profit education machine. All my friends are messed up because they have student loans up to here. Healthcare is very expensive, but if you want good healthcare, you have to get private healthcare. Our pension system, I think it's also taken from the US, and that's why our pensions are miserable.
Oh, I still want to fight the person who cut. I just want to fight the government who cut mommy's pension because.
Like, and here's the thing: it was absolutely, and that's a thing I saw on a file as well when I was working at the archive. There was this huge ad in the newspaper about how the pensions system was going to change and how it was going to be better. And don't worry, once you retire, you're going to receive the same salary that you're receiving right now. And now everyone realized that it was all a lie. Like, these people, this government, they fill their pockets with workers' money, and now the people have to face the consequences. That's why this year people have been fighting to actually take out money from their pension savings. A few months ago, it was approved that people could take out 10% of their pension savings. And like, the fact that people have to fight for 10% when that money belongs to them, like the whole thing belongs to them, but they had to fight to get 10% out. And that's why during a pandemic, the economy recovered for a while, because people have their 10% and they were able to pay their debts.
Right.
Like, credit card debt went down. People were buying more stuff. Like, it was a huge.
It's amazing. Give people what they need.
Yeah. So now another 10% was approved. I don't know if mommy qualifies for this one though, because you do have to qualify. That's the problem.
And Christine did ask, are there unions in Chile? And,
yeah.
Toya just said Jesus Christ, which is a mood.
Yeah, there are unions here. People do fight against them sometimes, but here's the thing. For example, during the pandemic, like, they wanted to reopen schools very, very fast. We were like in the middle of the whole thing. It was winter. It was regular flu season plus a pandemic. And the government was like, no, we have to reopen schools, blah, 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 blah. And then the teachers union, the national teachers union was like, we think the fact not. If you made us, we're going to take to the streets and it's over for you. And the government had to be like, okay, we'll do online. They had to back down. Mommy actually had a pretty decent salary, and that's why I'm annoyed that her pensions are so low, because she had a good salary. Like, we would be, if she still was earning that much money, we would be able to save, and I would be able to help people. Like, why? Because when in the 90s, she was earning minimum wage. But then after the dictatorship ended, unions were allowed again. And the union, the public healthcare workers union, was able to win so many things for their workers. Like, it was amazing. Like she was earning so little money when she started, and then she was able to, like, she had bonuses, she had like, and that's why she was able to save a little bit. But sadly, we can't take the money out yet.
I hope you have access to that soon. I hope
you have like
money. Like,
I have something similar, because I don't know if I mentioned this before, but I got scammed when I was in like my second year of college, and I lost all my savings. And that was a bank account that my aunt opened for me when I was 5. So
I am knife. That's horrible. I'm so sorry.
I wanted to be knife and the bank was like, I'm sorry, we can't do anything for you. So I have been able to recover that money slowly, and it's like a life insurance thing. So the thing that annoys me is that they invest our money, but the other option that I have for savings was even less convenient for me. So if my money grows a little, in a few months, I can take some out and I can help my aunt and uncle rebuild their roof, because they need one that works well for the winter, you know? And also I can get things for myself that I need as well.
Right. And I'm like, I just want you and mommy to be able to thrive.
Yeah. Wow, this got really derailed, but here's the thing about talking about history.
Really sorry about that.
There's a lot of sides of it, and that's why when people were like, "Oh, that job sounds boring," I'm like, "No, it didn't, because reading all this stuff allowed me to think about it more." Like, I never finished. I never finished university. I was majoring in history, actually. And I am very lucky that my coworkers were never like rude about it. They were never like, "Oh, I am an intellectual and you didn't even finish the equivalent, the Chilean equivalent of undergrad." My friends still sent me their research papers for me to read because they know that I read.
Amazing.
They know that I read them for fun. Like, my friend, he's doing who was my supervisor. He's doing amazing. He's in England. doing fancy research. I am extremely jealous of him.
Is he the one who told you to go to
Because
sleep?
he went to the National Archives in London, and I was like,
OMG, what? That's so cool.
and I was like, how was it? Tell me
Can you
everything.
imagine the London? Can you imagine English archives? Like, what kind of stuff they have?
My friend, one of my friends who moved to France was able to go to the archives over there, and that was freaking amazing as well. I'm like, tell me everything. I need to know.
Why is
because the Chilean archives are quite precarious compared to fancy archives in Europe, you know? So like he's doing the thing, and he's still, every time he has an idea, he's like, hey, I have an idea. Do you want to hear it? But he knows that I've been going through it. So he was like, oh, well, wait, did you sleep? Because if you didn't sleep, I'm not telling you anything.
I love that he full named you and was like, go to bed.
Yeah.
Full name Fefy, go to bed.
Yeah. He actually called me by the name that I introduced myself when I started a job. Actually, like,
Faye said, team, let's get Fefy across the world to all the archives. Yeah. I volunteer to be Fefy's cane and eyes.
Yeah, I that's another thing about working at the archive. The canes. This is a fun, because I said that I was going. I hope this is fun for you, but like I was going to talk about things that are more lighthearted as well, not just about
we
the sad
can
stuff.
into the lighthearted half of the podcast now.
Because but here's the thing, like criminal files, that shit is in lighthearted. I mean, the ones where there was a fight, like in rural areas, like when people were like, oh, this person attacked me, those were kind of hilarious, because like there was this person who beat another person with a thing of corn.
Corn?
The one who threw a chicken, like a whole chicken of someone else, like.
Okay, wait, was this a live chicken, a cooked chicken?
They didn't specify.
I have questions. Come on.
I saw that file in 2016, and I still have questions because like, and then so and so threw a chicken at me, and I was like,
I'm sorry, what?
What? I need updates on this chicken.
We'd never throw Francesca, Faye. Come on.
Like, why would you throw? No. Do not throw duochrome chicken at anyone. Also, duochrome chicken is like smart enough that if you're in danger, she will attack.
She would.
Without you having to throw her. Like,
honestly, she would. And yeah, no, thank you. I'm learning so much. Face it, I would support you across the world, so I just said we would be unstoppable.
Oh my god, yeah, like
yeah, Toya agreed. I was learning so much. Like Roberto just sent me an article with additional learning on Pinochet and his like economic policies. So I'm interested to read that later. And like Toya said, I always learn so much from LGG. I love it.
Yeah.
Hey, Christine, use what you got. Kat said, Fefy, my time working in law firms when I was younger, just wow. Criminal law, I should not have seen some of the pictures I saw.
Oh my god, the ones. Oh god, yeah, that gave me flashbacks, because here's the thing. I shouldn't have seen the pictures as well, but I needed to find them because I needed to file them in the attachments section of the form. So when people go to the archive and look at this specific file, they know what's in it. So I had to do that sometimes, and sometimes they would be like murder cases, and I would be like, I would pass those to my supervisor and be like, can you look at that, please? Because
That's a little much for me. There you go.
the files that always fucked me up were criminal files, and also when we did a minors court, that was also pretty rough. Not because of like graphic content, like visual graphic content, but the stories of these poor kids were
heartbreaking.
Absolutely heartbreaking. Yeah.
Agreed. And Kat said, I support the stories, getting you to the archives and learning more. Agreed. Kat said the deaths by other people were the worst. The M word, yes. Yeah, and agreed. Like anything having to do with kids just like wrecks me.
Yeah, yeah.
It was just a kid, like, because I'm just like
also like I could
to go
like
through anything like that.
I could go off about
Cat.
how children are treated in this country and like the foster care system.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking terrible. It's one of the things that people have been protesting the most about, actually, during the anti-government protests.
Kat said one serial case was what got me out.
Ooh, yeah, I can only imagine like that's fucking terrible. So, what was I saying? Yeah, like, so some of those were kind of funny because weird shit was happening, like throwing food and animals at people. But
maybe whole chicken or a live chicken at someone. We don't know.
What kind of chicken? Inquiring minds would like to know.
Like I have to know, how was the cleanup?
Yeah, like
Emily, or not Audrey and Emily, but Tony and Emily.
Yeah. So like, yeah, those were kind of, but like one of the lighthearted, even though I have a rant on that as well, things about the archive was that, look, my bosses, I have some complaints. However, my coworkers were amazing. Like I always say that we were like a class in school, like, except that time, except this time I wasn't being bullied. Good. It was like my friend who sat next to me and I were class clowns, obviously. Then right next to me sat my supervisor, who was like the responsible kid. My best friend was also the responsible kid, and she was like the one, because she's in law school. So sometimes we didn't know what that particular case was for, because they would put weird names in the title of the file. You know, like, I'm like, oh, what should I qualify this as? Like, what crime is this supposed to be? So I would show it to my friend, and she would be like, well, back in the day they used to call this that, because like she's both she's a triple threat, actually. She's a history teacher, and she's a law student. So
dang,
all those powers combined, yeah, she's amazing. And yet all her family cares about is if that she hasn't gotten married yet. That's a story for another day. So annoying.
I'm like rage activated. I'm sorry, triple.
Yeah, like
that's what you're focusing on.
Yeah, she activates my ride or die reflex, because her family. Oh my god! Like, so yeah, so because of her knowledge, we would all go to her.
I love this.
Be like, hey, so what the fuck is this supposed to mean?
Trying to imagine, like, because I'm
please explain.
English is hard enough for me, and I'm just trying to like historic Chilean Spanish. And right, Ellie, yes, the questions, and agreed. Fefy, you are brilliant, and I hope you do get to further your education if that's what you want. And then, yeah, the dreaded marriage issue. Flaming Elmo. I hate that so much for your friend. Fefy said,
Yeah.
said all the trash family.
Yeah,
Which
I hate that
we
so
all
much for her because she's amazing. Like, and she was so helpful to everyone. Like sometimes she would be like deep in her thing because she had a deadline, and the same day that she had a deadline, she had a test at school, and she had to hand in a report and do a whole bunch of stuff, and she would still pause and help me. So that's why I'm like ride or die for her.
see, that's the kind of friend I attempted to be. Like,
Actually, even further, she's the one who got me the job at the archive. She saw that my life was in shambles. I was suffering. I was unemployed. I was about as sad as I am right now, honestly.
mood.
She was like, hey, I talked to my boss. You have an interview tomorrow. She didn't even ask. Like, she was like, you have an interview tomorrow. Get ready.
That's amazing.
This is the address. We're expecting you at this hour. Like,
oh my God, that's amazing.
get you a friend like that, honestly.
Oh, like, what a friend. Like, those are the friends, like, she just knew what you needed exactly when you needed it, and she was like, here, do the thing.
Yeah, and then I get to the archive. Also, we were classmates in university, so that's how long we have known each other. We have known each other since 2005. Oh my god, that's because I met her in my second year.
Toya said, LOL.
Wow, we've been friends for 15 years. That doesn't make me feel old at all.
God, Toya said, LOL, loving aggressively.
Yeah, she was. That's why I am the way I am. Like I sometimes receive the same energy that I give. And me in turn I would be like, did you eat? You never eat. Go eat.
All of us, always.
Sometimes she would be like super stressed because she had all those things piled together, and she would be like, I don't even have time to get to coffee. So I would go and I would make her a coffee.
Oh,
she didn't even have to ask, honestly.
Emily said, Fefy, I just had that same realization, that same mental questioning with my bestie Sarah. 15 years.
Yeah, 15 years. Oh my god. Yeah.
And my friends, because like there are some people I've known since childhood, and I'm just like, oh my god, it's literally been 2 full decades.
And it was hilarious because I don't know if American kids get this kind of fear mongering in high school when they tell you, well, you have to take advantage of your time in high school because in college no one's going to care about you, blah 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 blah. You're not even going to have friends. Your teachers are not going to your professors are not going to care, blah blah blah. They kept telling us that, like,
yeah, they did, like, not with friends necessarily, but for sure with like professors, like they don't care about you. You're a drop in the
like
water.
everyone's going to ignore you. Like the nicest people I met in college. Friendships that I still have are from university, actually. Like,
oh no, but welcome Pingu / frogs.
hey Pingu, I'm sorry, that sucks. Oh my god. Yeah. So when I arrived at the archive, I realized that it wasn't only her. Like two other classmates of mine were working at the same office.
I love that.
And then the other guys were all had all gone to university together as well. So we were all very close. We all helped each other. And one of the things about them helping me was that the boys were my canes. when I was for a very short period working at the main archive, the one that is absolutely 100% haunted. But that one was actually kind of easy to get to because you got off the subway, you walked like you didn't even have to, yeah, it was like right outside the subway. You didn't even have to walk much. So that was like pretty easy to navigate for me. The newer archive, the one where I ended up working the longest at, you had to cross this huge park and you had to cross it from the outside. So it was like a parking lot. So it was, oh, there's a step here. Careful, there's a step there. Then there was a bus stop and there was a whole bunch of people trying to get to the bus stop. So you have to, it was a whole thing. It was like one block, but it's what we call here like a country block. So like 2 or 3 times the size of a regular block. And going back at night to the subway station, it was pretty complicated because it was dark. And then there was a bus that would stop at the bus stop, and every time the lights on that bus would be super high, and I wouldn't be able to see anything. So after a while, the guys were like, "Hey, do you need us to walk you to the subway station?"
Yeah.
And so they took turns to do it.
Oh yes, and Franz just popped in and agreed. And then Faye said, I was convinced college would be my salvation, and I was happy I was right because my bro was in college while I was in high school. And then Kat said, from whom? Just like from teachers, family, friends, depends, but yes, for the isolation, no one will care about you. I don't think I'm friends with a lot of people in high school, but I appreciate the ones I have maintained, though. Yes, agreed. And then I just said we were talking Chilean archive gossip or capuchas less chisme. Oh, that sounds so interesting. So sad I missed the beginning. And I just said you worked in the archives going through the files.
Yeah. So that was pretty, I mean, it was very nice that people would help me. That got people talking though. I
will fight him.
I still want to fight that man. I can't believe he got a promotion and I am not no longer working there. Like I should be the one with the promotion, damn it.
Certified #TM. I want to fight everyone. You literally wrote the book.
Oh yeah, for people who don't know, this guy didn't even know me, but I had to work with him very briefly to do like to write the book that I had to write for the archive. And this lady who worked with him was like trying to make small talk, and she was like, "Do you have a boyfriend?" And I was like, "No, I don't have time." Blah 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 blah. And he was like, "Oh, of course you don't have time. Every time I see you, you have a different boy on your arm." And I was like, "Excuse me, excuse me."
Wait, Fefy, there's some Spanish in the comments.
Do you need me to translate?
Possibly, Roberto.
I don't know. Hola. I am awkward when I have to be bilingual unexpectedly.
Translated for me. We're good. We're good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and I guess when is just like
Yeah.
I did not know. Yes.
Yes, I am. Hola. Hola, ¿qué tal? Oh,
Like, I want
Right,
to all
Kat, you speak Spanish as well.
Yes, because Kat speaks Spanish.
Yeah. And I always forget because you don't Spanish plain.
Right? Like some people.
Like some people, yeah. So yeah, that situation was very uncomfortable for me because this guy didn't even know me. And he was like making that kind of comments to me. I don't like it. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Like, just because you watch one telenovela doesn't mean anything, honestly. Look, if I could fight that guy, I would. Yeah, he was like, those dudes that you're going to know immediately because everyone has seen those guys. That every time they're close to a woman, they do the lean in.
I hate that.
Those guys who lean in to talk to you.
I still CC just killing me with BRB booking flights to Chile to throw hands with this guy because mood. I can't type/read, but I would also never Spanish lane La Audacia.
Yeah, La Audacia. Oh my God. That guy had La Audacia, honestly. Because like
Audacity.
you don't know me. The guys know me though.
You're like,
They're
excuse me,
my friends.
ableist and sexist piece of trash.
Yeah. Like those guys were helping me get by. Like I mean, also if I had been dating one or two of them, what would have mattered to this guy? Also, like I wasn't dating any of them because I have no game, by the way. But
please, you God, you're such a babe. I can't even handle it. The first time I saw you, I was like, is she even real? Like you're like, I'm just like, she's gorgeous.
see, the people on the internet appreciate me. The people in real life have lines on or something. Okay, I'm going to make a clarification. Most of the people on the internet appreciate me. There's one that. How do you not know? Like I have shot my shot so many times.
It's ridiculous.
And they still don't get it.
I was like, I swear, if you don't appreciate our Fefy, we will hurt you. And Reggie had no business.
I mean,
like
this
that.
person appreciates me. We have been friends for, again, I'm going to have a moment, 8 years. We have been friends for 8 years. Wow. That's another one that made me feel super old. But
that, okay?
you know what? Like I shot my shot. They are very lovely and charming, but clueless. So I let them be. But
also, yeah, no, Roberto LOL'd at La Audacia.
yeah.
Perfect. I hadn't heard.
Yeah, I say that all the time. I can. Is he there? Yeah, he had absolutely no business telling me that because, first of all, I was there for work, wanting to ask work questions, and I was like just humoring this lady because she seems really nice. Like she was actually very cool. And
Ruthie, right though? Ruthie said, Fefy, this oblivious person. Right.
I have made an absolute fool of myself all over whoever's internet at this point. And they're like, so we're friends, right? So we are friends.
Sure we are. And poquito de español. I have no room to explain shit.
Yeah, Ruthie also speaks
French
Spanish
helps me.
very well.
My French helps me because I'm like, okay, that just means you speak a little bit of Spanish.
Yeah, un
No,
poquito,
poquito, because it makes me
a
happy.
little bit.
Because poquito is just such a cute word.
Yeah. Chileans are very diminutive with their words as well. We made the diminutive even smaller.
I
It's
love Kat said I can curse that motherfucker out though.
oh.
Also,
Have I mentioned that I don't curse in Spanish?
yes, I love
Which is
it.
a strange thing because here's the thing. My abuelito cursed so much that I think he cursed for me and for all of his grandchildren. My cousins still curse, but I was like, you know what? This never comes. Oh,
Like it's not for me. And then I also love that Ruthie said, you know, I did marry one of those, right? I shot my shot.
I know that Mo, because Ruthie told me.
I also asked about it.
Yeah, I remember when you were asking your.
That
I remember when you were asking your roommate for your peine. Yeah, and he had to correct your pronunciation. Yeah, yeah. We do have I do have a different personality in Spanish. I have to admit, like I am me. I am what you see is what you get. But I am at my most powerful in English, even though sometimes I'm like, wow, I sound like that in English? Damn.
I think someone asked me one time if my thoughts were in English or Spanish. I was like, when I'm angry in Spanish, LMFAO.
Oh, look, when I am, my thoughts are in both languages and it gets sketchy sometimes.
And then the way cursing works differently in different languages, right, Faye? Like Arabic versus English. But also depends on the conversation.
Yeah, so like that person I would have cursed out, but he was technically a superior and I was trying to pay bills. It fucking sucked. But I am really glad that I had that my friends are very they were very nice to me and they took in consideration the fact that I am visually impaired because they helped me a lot. And sometimes I couldn't read something and I knew that I could go to one of them and show them and be like, what the hell does it say here? And they would be like, okay, I'll help you, without being annoyed, without giving me crap, like.
Yes. And then Kat said, I know with dialects, even knowing Spanish doesn't always help with cursing, right? Ruthie said, I curse think, but I don't curse talk. Mo said, when you're speaking in one language and only can pull up a word in the other language. Yes.
Oh, I have the range because I understand Castilian Spanish.
And then
also, I think it's in Seville. Yeah, I think they talk so fast they sound Chilean. Because I have a friend I have never traveled, but I did my online community origin story was in both Chilean and Spanish forums, and we're going to talk about that another day. But the friends I made helped me a lot in understanding Castilian Spanish.
Yes. And Faye said, tell me why when I'm in half dream state, I think in Arabic. I barely speak it. It was
That's
like
amazing.
this video at 55% since last night. Stupid internet. Oh, that sucks.
Oh no, that's so annoying.
Olivia said, I did not curse in Spanish for a very long time. I still don't as much as I do in English.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
kind of easier in English, honestly. Also, I don't know if I could curse in like Castilian Spanish because because I am a Catholic, and a lot of those curse words are blasphemy, so
Valid.
it doesn't sit right with me. Yeah, I have to do like a few every couple of weeks. Surprise! I'm religious because people's concept of religious people is like usually not me.
Yeah. They usually think of the poopy people, not the amazing ones. Like,
Yeah,
oh,
like
no,
when
cool,
they say,
though.
"Oh no, so and so is super religious, and that's why she's like this," and I'm like, I am not like that.
Yeah,
But I know many people are like that. Many people
and
are.
I want to like amend my statement because I know like there are good religious people. So I'm just like I try to say like the fanatical religious or
Yeah, I personally I say fanatical as well.
okay. And that's cool, Ruthie, that you sometimes dream in Spanish. Rarely now, but once in a while. Oh, that's
Yeah,
cool.
sometimes I dream in English, and it's an experience.
Oh, that's interesting, Frogs, because you're Swedish, right?
Oh,
I've had some dreams where I met English-speaking people and we spoke English in the dreams.
my hair hasn't completely dried yet.
And yes,
I need to
you
shave.
make sense, Kat. You're making total sense.
Yeah,
With your abuelo.
yeah.
And Mo said, also Mo is super religious. I call
Oh
him.
my God! Yeah, yeah. Like
Oh, that's a good point.
that post on the Discord with the minimalist nativity scenes. Oh my God! I am.
What in the Christian hell?
And did you see what the post that Casey tagged me in Pets and Plants? I saw that first thing in the morning and I was cackling.
I need to go back and look at it.
That is freaking hilarious. Yeah.
And I love this pew warmers.
You warmers.
Like, amazing. Because I don't know if they're positive, but it sounds like you had a beautiful relationship. Yes, and it does, Kat. And the minimal nativity scene was so.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Wait. No, Casey tagged you in it and said, "Look, it's sheep," and it was just the picture.
Yeah.
Of sheep,
It
right?
was a picture of a block of wood that says sheep.
Sheep. Oh my god.
Oh, I love that so much.
The nativity scene. So I was like, no, this is what it. Cause I was only seeing the notifications and read minimalist nativity scene, and I wasn't sure what to expect. I wasn't.
Yeah, that is a bit too minimalist for my taste, honestly. I have, you can't see them, but we do have two nativity scenes here. Mommy puts baby Jesus on the nativity scene all the time, like the whole time, not only on Christmas, because she's like, but baby Jesus is so cute. We need to put him. He needs his time to shine. Though it like you can see it. Wait a second. I'm going to turn off my camera so I can stand that, because these shorts are a little too short.
Valid. And it's like 100 degrees.
I mean, it's 100 degrees inside. outside is like 90 something bad.
I know. I was like, I just want you to have AC. I would show you myself, but I look terrible, so I will sit here and talk.
So this is the one that I love the most. I love how I am completely derailed from the subject, but
That's also probably my
we
bad.
were talking about a heavy subject, so look at little baby Jesus.
Oh my god, that is a really adorable baby.
Isn't he adorable? Like, look at him.
His cute little smile and eyebrows. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And it's a nativity scene in which all the characters are like children, are like little babies. And look at the shepherd with the sheep.
Oh my god. Okay, that's pretty adorable. His little
So
hat.
like,
That's adorable.
so like I don't have sheep, my dog, but I have this
You
sheep.
have a tiny sheep, and you have your little stuffed sheep that looks just like your sheep.
Yeah, the little stuffed dog that looks exactly like sheep. Yeah.
Gosh, it looks exactly like sheep. And Kat said, I went to church 3 times a week in Catholic school before my expulsion. And then, and Lori is here. Welcome, Lori. Then Frog said, temperatures are the worst when they disobey, and agreed. Kat said, 100. No, Fefy. I'm freezing here. Can you send me the warmth? Can we just like... I wish we could be temperature fairies and just like spread out all of the temperatures.
Yeah, I'm always like,
how it
you
should
know,
be
I'm always like, you
on
know
this
what?
earth.
You're too cold. I am too warm. Can we like split the difference and like
Right?
get to like a toasty but not too toasty temperature? Like, you know, like light jacket weather. Like cute little light sweater. You know, like, because you can't be fashionable in this weather. It's too
Right?
hot for that.
Right. And like here, it's too cold for me to be any kind of cute. I'm just wearing layers.
Oh, that's another thing about me working at the archive, by the way. The newer one, those offices were so cold. I had to wear like a gajillion layers, and then I had this huge hoodie that stayed at the office because I knew I was going to, like that place was even cold in the summer. It was ridiculous. You would catch me in a hoodie and outside it would be 90 degrees. Like, how?
I'm going to go get the nativity scene link for everyone so everybody can see it. Hold on.
Yeah, because that's hilarious. Yeah. So, and because it was so cold, that place was also haunted. both of the archives are like definitely haunted because the building for the newer one belonged to the military in the 70s as well, taking it back. So you know what that means. Yeah, in the main archive that used to be a convent, there was a nun that would haunt the archive, and the office was in the underground level. So that was dark and kind of scary. So
Let me a ghost story too, Cece.
what my friend would do for the nun to stop bothering her was play the radio. And my friend is a mushy romantic person, so she usually would be listening to Luis Miguel. And we came to the realization that the nun is a Luis Miguel fan. So she would play him and the nun would go away. We would immediately stop hearing things rattling. We would immediately stop hearing steps outside. Like it was.
And Frog said that's so funny to the nativity scenes. Cece said that sounds like a scene in Ghostbusters. I love it. Of course, Ruthie. I tell you what, most people have no idea I can be religious until I think there's a spirit and start speed praying our fathers and Hail Marys. You know? Valid.
Mm-hmm.
The power of cat compels you. Somebody was like, I actually like, in the second tweet, they were like, I like the stained glass one, but it's $155. Which is wild.
Oh my God, no,
That's
that's two monies. That is two monies. Like the nativity scenes that is like under the table. There's one on the table and there's one under the table. The one that's under the table was kind of expensive, like not super expensive, but mommy wanted to have a really nice one.
Yeah, my mom had one too.
So she has to pack that really well when we take everything down. Because if that breaks, she's going to be sad. And I don't want
that. You know, no sad mommy, please. And Frog said, I feel like it is the nature of archives to be spooky, ? And yes, I do. I think so. Because usually they're old.
Okay, so I think are we at the 2-hour mark?
Almost. We've got
wow.
Like 12 minutes.
And I didn't actually talk about everything I wanted to talk about. Like I think it got really derailed, but like I hope it was in like a productive way.
It was. I mean, we still talked about the archives. Like,
yeah. I mean, I think like I had a different plan for this episode, but I think in the end I ended up talking about how the work at the archives affected me as a person, you know, like
yeah.
And my vision of my country and my vision of the world, you know. I honestly wish I could have that job back. Sadly, because of my education, like I can't really, and it's very annoying because I actually wrote the book that is helping people find stuff at the archive now. My friend and I did that, and we weren't hired back.
Which is some kind.
And I'm currently unemployed, and I have been unemployed for like 2 years because of that. So,
and it's so frustrating. Like,
yeah, it's incredibly frustrating, and also because I love that job. Because that job is like it gets me in the part of me that is like extremely curious about things.
Yes. I really feel that. And Cece was talking about how me with my broken drumstick I keep next to my bed as a wooden stake in a holy water my mom gifted to me years ago just in case.
You know what? That's valid.
Ruthie, are the blocks with wood stamped on yours?
The blocks of wood, those are hilarious. Yeah.
I wonder if people think I'm religious or not. I definitely want to give off the religious vibe.
You give a good person vibe, Ruthie.
Yes, you do.
You're an excellent person. You are conductor of the love train. Every time you are in a chat, you are complimenting someone, and I'm so happy to see you always because you're always giving someone some love, you know?
Correct. Or
I appreciate that about you so much.
We had a digital tour of a museum archive last week, and I could sense the spooky.
It is spooky because, like,
I love that.
The deposits are dark. And you have to make noises when you enter because there's potentially spiders. You have to be careful with it. So,
Okay, I adore that set. I would buy it ironically for someone, but I'm an asshole. I am that kind of person that I just want that because it's hilarious. I'm going to send that to my boyfriend. He also is probably going to want that and or make it.
Yeah. Oh my God. If Morgan makes it, I want pictures, please.
I will. Don't worry. LGG will see. And Ruthie said, yes, Kat, me too. And Bethany, you do this well. My goal is to re-represent what a Christian should be.
Yeah, like I've been telling, like I'm Catholic, but if I went to go to another church, I would definitely go to your church, Bethany.
Right? You and Alex both.
Yeah, and I mean, Alex is currently not working at a church, I believe, but I think I think they said that Case was working at a church.
Wherever they're
Case
preaching.
is and Case is cool, so
Yes.
I would definitely go to their church
Love
as well.
them. I love them. So I would go to Case's church.
Oh,
Ruthie.
oh, you're going, Mo. You're going live now. I am. So I will wait to raid you then.
Yes. I love this. Ruthie. If Morgan makes it, I'll buy it. You're for real. You know, I will talk with the boyfriend when he awakes later.
You'll need to start a business.
Listen, he could make some serious money. Like, he's so ridiculously talented.
Minimalist holiday things. Not just a nativity scene, like go all out.
Oh my God, we could have so much fun. Like I could have fun with this. I'm
like minimalist Santa with the minimalist reindeers.
Yes. Oh my God, I want to link them together with like little string, but make them all blocks. Wait, put like bells maybe on just like one of them, or just like a red nose on the very front one. My creativity is inspired. Going to look for stuff around the house to make my own. Yes, Lori.
Okay, no, but everyone has to send me pictures. Everyone.
Oh, and Mo said, yeah, today ended up being a crawl. Mo said, I'm going after you for an hour and 15 minutes, then Eeyore maybe. Yeah, I'm trying to stay awake until then.
Yeah, is Thorn continuing with Animal Crossing later as well, or?
I don't know. I just need to go live for a little bit to stream today.
Because I knew they were getting ready, but I didn't know if.
Yes, I don't know.
I am upset that I had to be getting ready during that stream though, because I want to be hype woman and I love watching people play Animal Crossing. Also, I missed Blathers hates bags moment. I'm upset because he's my favorite. Because of course he's my favorite. You know, like what's more on brand than me saying that Blathers is my favorite. Honestly, like he's like, did you know? Like, I am all ears.
Yes, yay, Mo live. Oh yeah, sorry, I was just typing to Bethany. Yeah, I'm not sure how long Thorn is planning on streaming or when, but I'm like, I won't be trying to be on for very long if you want to go live as well. I just need to do my monetization requirement so I don't wait another day and so the things don't expire and just so it's done.
So should do I wait to raid Mo then?
Yes, we should wait. I haven't seen her.
I am opening Twitch then. This is going to be noisy. Apologies in advance.
Yes. I was like, I'm trying to.
Oh, let's see if I can mute. Yeah, I think I muted. I think we're going to be fine.
I can't hear you.
I think I muted the Twitch.
Oh, I'm so sorry. My bad.
So you don't have to hear me twice because I know I'm loud.
Oh my God.
That's just me. I am a loud bitch. I hope I'm not destroying anyone's eardrums. That makes me really self-conscious, actually. So
Oh,
yeah,
yes.
like I think we got derailed, but we did talk about interesting stuff.
Oh, Mo is on. There we go.
Oh, Mo is on. So what I'm going to do is I don't see her on my thing.
I
Should
see.
I refresh?
Yeah, try either refresh or you can just try typing in the chat command and it should work. I just got
Oh,
a notification.
okay. I just got the notification.
Okay, there we go.
So
Yeah.
I am going to raid. I am going to raid. So I'm going to say thank you everyone for joining me today. I don't know what I'm going to do next week. If anyone has a suggestion, I'm always open to that. I'm always open to that. And I hope you enjoyed this episode and that you can join me again next week for one more thing. So now we're going to go.
Thank you, friends.
Thank you, Eeyore, for being eyes, as always. Okay. We're waiting to raid. It's going to happen any moment now. 1 second. Okay. Start raid. We're going. Yay. So I am going to finish the stream here. We're here. Okay, I'm going to finish the stream now. Bye, everyone.